kind of had a feeling with the way that things were going. Patches! Hello again. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Kira, and today we are doing my February wrap-up. It is technically February 28th when I'm recording this, but I know that between the rest of today and tomorrow, the plans that I have tomorrow, that there's no way I'm going to be finishing another book. So I'm recording this wrap-up today, and then you will see this on Sunday, if you watch it on Sunday, or you'll see it whenever you watch it. But going into it, I read 8 books this month. I also participated in Demonathon. I did not win, but we'll get I have a Demonathon vlog that's going to be coming out after this. I will explain in that one why I didn't win, but it's whatever. I still read a lot of books. I didn't read one of my books from my actual TBR and one of my books from my Demonathon TBR. So, other than that, I read 8 books. So, going into my bullet journal, I'm going to put my regular stats up here for you on the screen. It's been a while since I've done a wrap-up, so this feels odd, but here we go. I only read 1 book this month. I didn't read any arcs. I read a total of 2,608 pages, which averages to 90 pages per day, and average days per book was 3.6 days, and then my average star rating was 3.25, which I think, if I'm recalling right from my other wrap-ups, 3 stars seems to be an average rating that I get a lot in my wrap-ups, so at least I have a well balance of star ratings. So, starting off with the first book that I read, I will put the covers here for ebooks. I read This Is War by Kennedy Fox. I gave this book 1 star. I have a review on this book. I can link it in the cards. If you don't know what this book's about, this book follows Viola and Travis. It is supposed to be like an enemies to lovers book. Viola is in college and Travis is her brother's best friend, and from a misunderstanding that happened when they were young, they hate each other. So over spring break, Viola is staying at her brother's house because he lives in the same town as her college, but her brother is going away for her spring break because his girlfriend is also in college. So Viola is being left in her brother's house for 2 weeks with Travis, who she doesn't like. And then antics ensue. I did not like this book at all. I didn't like either one of the main characters. Travis is your typical tattooed bad boy who fucks anything that walks, and Viola is your typical nerdy girl, but she's really hot. And she's obsessed with Harry Potter, which I will get into that when I get to the other book, because I read the second book in this series too for Demonathon, and I regret both of them. But, so that is This Is War. I gave it 1 star. I'm not going to go too into detail on it since I did a review. If you want to hear my detailed thoughts about it, you can watch the video. And that's all I have to say about that one. So moving on to the second book that I read this month, Song of the Dryad by Natalia Lee. I gave this book 5 stars. I also did a book review on this book, if you want to watch that. I loved this book. It is a cozy contemporary, which is what she says that it is. Cozy contemporary fantasy, which is exactly what it is. It is very much cozy, and it is very much a contemporary, and it is very much fantasy. This book follows Charlotte Barclay. She is kind of anxiety prone, but pretty much what happens is her mom goes missing, and Charlotte's only person who can like fix it by collecting these fairy stones that go to the fairy shrine. Her family is like keepers of the shrine, but like her great grandma gave up on it and like blocked it out, so then her grandma in turn didn't do anything about it, but Charlotte can see them, but since she hasn't not stopped believing in them, she can still see them, and then her mom gets kidnapped by the dryad of the fairy realm, and she has to find these stones in 30 days. But anyways, I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. You can watch my review on it. I'm not going to go into depth about this book either. I just loved it. This book wasn't on my TBR for the month. For the 1-year anniversary of Song of the Dryad, Natalia, the author, Natalia, I don't know why I'm calling her by her first name like we're best friends, but she made the Kindle ebook 99 cents as like a way to get the book out there, and just as a thing for the 1-year anniversary. And so I bought it and I read it and I loved it. So then after that, moving on, the rest of these books I read for Demonathon. So the first book that I read for Demonathon is This Is Love. I'll put the cover here. This is the second book in the Checkmate series following This Is War. It also follows Viola and Travis. And I only read this book because I wanted to read the next 2 books that come in the series, and they follow Drew and Courtney, but I have to get through these ones to be able to read those ones as far as I can tell. So that's what I did. And then also checked off a prompt for Demonathon perfectly, so I read it. It just solidified my knowledge of knowing that I hate Viola and I hate Travis. This entire book was like a whirlwind of like random time jumps. Like there's one part where you jump like 3 months, and then you jump like 6 months, and then it jumps a year. In the book's only 300 pages, so it was kind of a lot. There's also a lot of sex, like normal. Viola also has 2 kids in this book, hence the time jumps, and her and Travis get married. They name their kids Ginny and James, and her never-ending references to Harry Potter don't stop. Something about the fact that by the time the book ends, she's like 23, I would say, and she like references Harry Potter on like every page. It's a little too much for me. I love Harry Potter, but it's too much. I understand that, yes, there are people who love shows and stuff, and they will name their kids after it, but it's like, it became too much for me. I couldn't stand it. It was like a personality trait for her. Travis would be like, oh my god, my nerdy girlfriend who loves Harry Potter, she's so cute, and it just became annoying to me. It was too much. I couldn't handle it. It was like reading again but better, but the only reference was to Harry Potter. There was no other references. It was just Harry Potter. It was just, I couldn't handle it. It was too much. So, I gave that book 1 star. If you want to read it, you can read it. Go ahead. I will link all of the ebooks to the books that I read in the description box. I don't think any of them were free. I'm pretty sure I paid for all of them, but I will link them in the description box below just because. Then the next book that I read was The Ginny Key, which is the second book in the Stolen Kingdom series. It is by Bethany Atazada. I gave this book 5 stars as well. I also did a review on the Stolen Kingdom. I had an ARC sent to me by the author. This book, The Ginny Key, wasn't an ARC. I bought it with my own money. But I loved the Stolen Kingdom. I actually gave it 4 stars, but I moved my star rating up to 5 stars because I don't agree with Pascura anymore. But I gave The Ginny Key 5 out of 5 stars. This book is a very loose Little Mermaid retelling. It follows Rhea. I don't know how to say her name, but pretty much she, like, gets legs and goes on land to try to find this guy that she saved that fell into the ocean, and he was a djinn. And then also in turn, it like mixes in with the characters from the first book, and she helps like with other things that happen. I don't want to give too much away about it, but she doesn't end up with the djinn in the end. She ends up with a different guy, which honestly that just kind of spoiled the whole thing anyways. I only said that, but oh well. So pretty much what happens is the only things that are the same for Little Mermaid that go for the Genie Key is she's a mermaid, she gets legs, and she goes on land to find the guy that she loves. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. She has like these shells that she wears around her neck. She doesn't have multiple necks. Around her neck, and her sisters also have shells. And they're like, each cell is like a different, a spell, like magic type of thing. And so she brings those with her, and she puts like a protection charm on herself, so then like Jin can't touch her. And she teams up with Caden and his crew to help with Ari. But she kind of has like a selfish reason because she's really just trying to see Gideon again, because she like told her, it was pretty much became like a dare between her sisters where they're like, I will give you legs and you can go find him, and if he does love you, then like you can keep because she has the Genie Key, which is like a whole like powerful thing, and her sisters want it, but the only way they can get it from her is if she willingly gives it to them, because if someone takes it from her, it just like reappears back on her person after a little bit. So yeah, I gave that book 5 out of 5 stars. I really liked it. I thought everything was really well blended together. The Stolen Kingdom switches point of views between Ari and Caden, so pretty much the Genie Key, they just added in I think her name's Rhea. Or it's... Yeah. They just add in Rhea's point of view, so that it switches between Ari, Caden, and Rhea instead. Which was nice, because it's, like, they're companion novels, so, like, each is a different story, but, like, also they all come together in the end. So I thought it was nice that it wasn't just, like, only her point of view, and, like, they got rid of Ari and Caden completely. So, yeah, that's the Genie Key. Moving on to the next book that I read, which it was the first Harry Potter book, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. This was my reread for the month. I've read this book like 3 times or something like that. But yeah, I'm not going to go into crazy detail about this book because it's Harry Potter. Read the first book. It's whatever. My goal is to try to reread the whole series at some point, which is... The rest of it's back here. But what better way to start than to read the first book? So I read this book, 5 out of 5 stars. That's what I had rated it before. It's whatever. So then the next book that I read was Frankly in Love. I got this book in a book box back in September. As you guys know, if you watched my Contemporary-thon vlog, I planned on reading it in Contemporary-thon, and I didn't read it until now. I gave this book 3 stars. I was kind of disappointed in this book. Because it's, there's fake dating in here, and I love fake dating. There's also, it has, like, really hardcore representation for Asian Americans, like, every, like, race is in this book, but there's only one gay character. I don't know if it just worked out that way, or, like, there's just other people who are gay, but it doesn't get brought up. But, so, I'll tell you about this book first. This book, Frankly in Love, follows a Asian American named Frank Lee. He falls in love with a white girl, and his family doesn't approve of him or his sister being with people who aren't Asian American, and his sister has pretty much been disowned by his family pretty much because she married a black dude. So he teams up with this girl named Joy, who is dating an Asian, they're Korean American. And so she is dating a Chinese American boy. And so they start fake dating when they go to, like, family gatherings and stuff, because Frank's family and, like, 4 other families came over from Korea, and so they have, like, gatherings once a month, and all the kids know each other and everything because their families, like, they were in Korea together, and then now they're here. And so Joy and Frank start fake dating in front of their family to make their family happy, and then every time that they leave, their family thinks that they're hanging out with each other, but then really they're meeting up with their respective partners. And then, of course, they end up falling in love with each other, which you kind of expected that to happen. But then it just kind of got really dark from there. They broke up because Frank's dad randomly decided to pick a fight with Joy's dad at one of the dinners because like her dad is more is richer than Frank's dad, and they always like drag on Frank's mom and dad, but his dad finally decided to like blow up and say something after like years of like having these dinners and everything. And so then it kind of becomes like a thing where then his family is like, you can't date Joy because we don't get along anymore. And then Joy's family is like, you can't date Frank. So then they go back into like hiding again and like secretly dating and stuff. And then Joy kind of becomes a hypocrite because she dated her first boyfriend for 2 years and her family didn't know about him. And that's why he was so upset during a lot of their relationship, and they would fight about it because she was like, you can't meet my family, like, you don't understand, I'm not ready for you to meet my family because they're not going to be happy about it and everything. And then her and Frank are sneaking around for, like, not even a month, and then she's like, I can't do this, we can't keep hiding out like this, it's not fair. And she just kind of became a hypocrite because she made her other boyfriend hide out for 2 years, and he never met her family, and she never told her family that she was dating him, and now she's just gonna break up with Frank like it's nothing because her family got in a fight. And then
Hi, editing Kira here. Another thing that bugged me about this book that I totally didn't even think about until after I was done doing the video. And I know it bugs a lot of people, which is why I'm putting this in here. A warning for this book. Frank is in a relationship with his other girlfriend, Britt, but he kisses Joy. They go to this wedding, and Joy admits that she's like in love with him and that her and her boyfriend have broken up and everything, and they kiss, and then they spend the entire wedding like together, kissing and hanging out with each other and everything. And then Frank breaks up with his girlfriend. So he morally is wrong because he spends a whole night cheating on his girlfriend, but is in such a whirlwind and is trying, like, almost tries to like justify it by like he loves Joy. So then he breaks up with his girlfriend Britt, but then it's almost, as to you as the reader, he doesn't seem like as good of a person because he didn't break up with his girlfriend first, instead of being like, oh no, we can't kiss or do anything like that because I'm still in a relationship with another person. He just went with it, and that's kind of something that rubbed me the wrong way a little bit. So I just wanted to jump in and throw that in here so I can really get my point across. So there's that.
And you find out that the reason why Frank's dad had a big old fit and everything was because he has cancer and he has like 6 to 12 months to live. And so it pretty much became like a, well, fuck it, I'm gonna die anyways, let's pick a fight type of thing, which is really sad. And his dad ends up dying, which is really sad. And then Frank's best friend Q randomly comes out to Frank, like close to when they're getting ready to go off to college and everything, and like kisses Frank, and then it's like, don't tell anybody. And Frank is like, I hope you really find a boy who will love you. And Q was like, thank you. And it's like really random and like thrown in there. And like I kind of had a feeling with the way that things were going. Patches. I kind of had a feeling with the way that things were going, the way that Q was acting when Frank was dating the first girl he was with, Britt, and then when he started dating Joy, Q kind of was like, kind of jealous and stuff. So I was like, oh, he's probably going to be gay and he's probably in love with Frank. And then it happened, and then I was upset about it, and I don't know why. I think it's just because it took so long for it to happen, and it was like randomly thrown in there, and then it like was touched on like once more when Frank was like talking to Q's sister, and then that was it. Yeah, and then like they go off to different colleges and everything, and then it ends with Frank just like at college. And there's supposed to be a second book. So, yeah, there were, as you can tell, this book was just disappointing to me. I think I hyped it up too much in my head. It got really hyped when it first came out, and it had like well, mine doesn't have it, but the one you could get in the store, it had like the blue, oh my god, the blue sprayed edges, and it got really hyped. And I'm pretty sure I watched Jesse the Reader's video where he read this and he was disappointed in it too, but I was still really excited about it because like everybody was really excited about it for a long time, and I was just really sad and disappointed, so I gave it 3 stars. I liked a good chunk of it. I thought it was really cute for a good chunk of it, but then it just got really sad, and I didn't want it to be sad. I didn't want to read a sad book. I wanted it to be just a cute romance, and it was sad. So, moving on to the next book that I read The Haunted by Danielle Vega. This book is, I said this in my Demonathon video, and I'm going to say it in this video too because it's going to go up before it. This is an arc that my friend gave me. I did not like this book. I gave this book 2 stars. If there is someone out there who loved this book and wants an arc of it, please comment like your Instagram handle or something below, and I will send this book to you because I have no need for it. I don't want an arc of this book if I didn't like it, so please, if you want this book, tell me, and I will give it to you. No strings attached. So, this book follows this girl named Hendrix. That was like a whole mindfuck for me because I kept thinking about Jimi Hendrix. But anyways, this follows a girl named Hendrix, and her family moved to this new small town. She's kind of like an unreliable narrator because she has PTSD from a thing that happened to her back in their old town, and her mom and dad flip houses, and they found this house they wanted to flip, and so they decided to move into it. But the trick about the house is 2 people have died in it. A little girl was murdered, and then another guy hung himself, and it was the little girl's older brother who was, like, being convicted for her murder. So there's that. So pretty much, like, the house is haunted. So you go into it, and she starts at school, but then, like, she immediately gets, like, taken in by the popular people because she's, like, mysterious. And since it's a small town, like, everybody tried to look her up on social media and everything. But she has no social media because she just was like, I'm just going to completely start fresh and over and just, it's going to be, like, completely new for me and this is going to be great. And so then she starts hanging out with, like, all these new kids. But then she also starts hearing things and seeing things in the house. But because of what happened to her, which it takes a bit for it to come out, but then it turns out that she had a boyfriend when they lived in Philly that she had been with and everything was great, and then he started to become really, like, controlling all of a sudden, and he would get really upset when she wouldn't respond to his text right away, and, like, if she just, like, looked at other guys. And then for a while they had this joke going on where, like, oh, on prom night everybody has sex and loses their virginity, ha ha ha, we should do it too, like a joke thing. And then when prom night actually came, he, like, pretty much expected her to have sex with him, but she wasn't ready, so she said no, and then he was like, he got upset because she, like, freaked out when they were at a party and everything, and it became, like, this big thing. And then, so she broke up with him, and then he started, like, stalking her, and, like, following her home when she would walk home from school, and then the last straw was when she came home one day from school and he was just in her bedroom, so then her family was like, we need to move. So she is, like, hearing things in the house, but then, like, she also, her dad is like, it's okay for you to have, like, PTSD from this, and a lot of people who have PTSD, they either hallucinate visually or, like, they hear things. And so, for a while, she kind of, like, writes the things off that she's, like, hearing and seeing as PTSD. But then it turns out it's not that, it's because there's ghosts in the house. And for a while, I was kind of really hooked for a bit. And then it went really downhill. So she finds out that the kid that lives behind her, whose name is Eddie, his brother and sister are the ones that died in her house. And then she starts hearing ghosts. And the only person who believes her is Eddie because he could feel that his brother and sister were still there. And so she starts seeing ghosts and hearing ghosts. So then they try to do, because her sister was killed in the wine cellar. So they try to do this, like, ritual thing to get rid of the ghosts, and, like, she thinks it works, and then it doesn't work because then she gets, like, attacked in her house, so then she's like, they're not gone. So then him and her go back to the shop that they went to get, like, rocks and stuff, and they get the lady that owns the shop to come to do a ritual, and then they find out that there's three boys that died in the house, and they, like, try to attack her, and they try to attack Eddie, and, oh yeah, there was one point where, she was watching her little brother, because she has a little brother that's, like, 18 months old, and one of the ghosts was holding her little brother, and when she told him to put her little brother down, the ghost threw her little brother against the wall, and her little brother broke his leg. And then when she came home from her little brother being in the hospital, they wrote one more on the wall, so she thought that they were, like, coming after her. And, like, the ghost lady thought that they were coming after her, and, like, she needed to sacrifice something because they needed one more sacrifice, and they were trying to kill her. But then you find out that they weren't trying to kill her, they were trying to kill Eddie, because in, like, 1999, when one of her friend Portia's mom was in school, these 3 boys that were, like, really well known, and they were, like, jocks and everything, and they were super popular, just disappeared, and nobody knew what happened to them. And it turns out that they had been bullying Eddie's mom, and Eddie's mom brutally murdered them in this house and then buried their bodies in the backyard. And what they meant by one more is they were killing her kids as revenge, and they wanted to kill Eddie. So then, after you find out, she's, like, throwing a party because they think that, she thinks that, like, oh, the ghosts are gone, I did my sacrifice thing, everything's fine. And then Eddie comes, and skeletons come out of the ground and start attacking people while everybody's outside, and then she realizes that by one more they meant Eddie, because she figures out that, like, Eddie's mom is the one that killed them, and Eddie went upstairs into her room to go get something that he left, and then Eddie gets killed. But, like, while she's trying to get into the house, like, the windows shatter, and the house starts on fire, and, like, the guys show up, and they're, like, trying to kill Eddie, and so she, like, throws herself out a window with him, because he realizes what was going on, and so he, like, stabbed himself in the chest as a sacrifice. It got really dramatic really fast, and it was too much for me, and I didn't like it. It was too much. So I gave it 2 stars. So that's this book. If you want this book as a proof, please tell me, and I will send it to you. Anyways, moving on to the last book that I read, which is Autobiography by Christina Lauren. If you guys watched any of my videos from last year, you would know that The Unhoneymooners was the only book that I gave 5 stars last year by Christina Lauren. So I kind of had high hopes for this book because I love The Unhoneymooners. I gave this book 4 stars, so obviously I enjoyed it. Not as much as I enjoyed The Honeymooners, but I enjoyed it. This book follows this guy named Tanner. He moves from a place in California to Provo in Utah, which is very Mormon-based and full of Mormon people. And his mom was Mormon, but she was excommunicated from the church. And his dad's Jewish, but he is bisexual. And so his mom kind of was like, he was out at his old school, but his mom was like, let's keep it on the down low when we move here because I don't want, like, you to get bullied or anything, or, like, to be shunned by, like, more than half of the school because you're bisexual, because Mormon, they don't believe in that. And then he falls in love with this Mormon kid who is the bishop's son. Then it turns out the bishop's son is gay too, and they start dating, but they're doing it behind people's back, and the bishop's son refuses to, like, admit that he's gay, and so then, like, a lot of, like, drama stuff happens, because, like, Tanner's like, because you're gay, and he's like, no, I'm not gay, I just like boys, and Tanner's like, but that's being gay, and he's really trying not to, like, admit it, because then he's going against, like, his church values, and then he tries to, like, ask his parents, like, theoretically, if one of your kids was gay, what would happen, and his parents didn't respond, but then he got shunned for, like, a week. And then there's a part where Tanner, like, tells him that he loves him, and then Sebastian, that's the kid's name, his response was to break up with Tanner. So then Tanner's, like, really heartbroken. This is the part that rubbed me the wrong way and is pretty much the reason why I gave this book 4 stars instead of 5. Was Tanner is friends with this girl named Autumn, whose mom used to be Mormon, but then she also, like, left the church. And so Autumn is, like, secretly, like, in love with Tanner. And Tanner's bisexual, but they, like, made out once, like, sophomore year, and then agreed that, like, they weren't going to be together, but she's kind of, like, in love with him anyways. So when Sebastian breaks up with Tanner, after he tells him that he loves him, he goes to Autumn, and then they have sex together. But the only reason why it rubbed me the wrong way is because she's a virgin, and I know that people are like, oh, virginity shouldn't hold such a big meaning to people, but, like, you could just tell by, like, the times that it had came up for her that it meant something to her. But Tanner didn't realize that she was didn't remember she was a virgin until they started talking. So then they, like, had sex together, and then he left the next morning before she was awake or anything. And then she, like, ignored him the whole day. But then, like, he felt terrible because he felt like he used her because he told someone else that he loved them and they rejected him, and he knew that if he went to her that she would reciprocate his love and the love that he wanted. And then, like, he finally gets her to, like, talk to him in this, like, 1 day span, and then they talk about, like, then she's like, that's okay. If I wanted to lose my virginity to anybody, I'd want to lose it to you. And he's like, oh my god, I forgot you were a virgin too. I'm a terrible person. I really used you. And she's like, no, really, more I used you because you're my best friend, so I'd rather lose my virginity to you than anybody else. And he's like, what? And then they don't, like, talk about it again after that. Like, it's awkward, like, for, like, a little bit, and then after that, it doesn't get brought up again. And I don't know, something about that just didn't, it rubbed me the wrong way. I just feel like it was, like, there wasn't a lot of time left in the book. They really needed to, sum everything up, and he needed to get with Sebastian, so, like, they needed to, like, breeze by it, and I feel like it could have been talked about a little bit more, especially considering, like, they're best friends and everything, and, like, he slept with her literally just because, like, he wanted to feel loved by somebody, and took her virginity, but then she was like, it's fine, because, like, I would have rather lose my virginity to you than anybody else, and, like, yeah, so that's this book. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I liked everything else about it. It was really cute. All the scenes between them are really cute. Tanner is in this class called the seminar where they, like, write a book for the semester or whatever, and Sebastian is the TA because he was in the class his senior year, like, the year before, and he wrote the book, and then the teacher sent his book off to, like, a bunch of, like, agents and editors and stuff, and so he got a book deal from it. So now everybody's like, oh my god, I might get a book deal, because he did. So he's a TA, and then that's how Tanner meets him. And it was pretty much almost like a love at first sight type of thing, but it was, like, it was really cute, because then, like, you could tell that, like, when Sebastian would catch Tanner looking at him, he would, like, blush and stuff, so you could tell that he, like, was reciprocating the feelings. Yeah. Anyways, that's all the books that I read for February. It's a lot of them. I had another book I was supposed to read for my Demon Hunt TBR, but I was kind of burnt out on reading, and I think I need a little bit of a break before I start reading again, which I will probably start immediately on March 1st, because I have a shit ton of ebooks that I need to read if you watched my March TBR. But yeah, that's the end of this video. Thank you for so much for watching. If you like videos like these, I have more wrap-ups, I have more book reviews. I can link I'll put one of the playlists here at the end of the video. If you like to see my face and hear my opinions, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I post videos every Sunday and Wednesday. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I feel like I already said that, but I really appreciate it. Bye!